Heyo, it's Mayo. So, today we're going to be talking about mental health. September is National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and National Suicide Prevention Week is from September 6th to September 12th. I thought now would be the perfect time to share a little bit more about some mental health things. Recently, in the comments of one of my videos, someone asked me, what are things I've done to help my mental health? And I gave them a really long reply, which I decided would be good to turn into a blog and also turn into a video. I've shared in lots of my previous videos that I struggled really deeply with a lot of mental health things over the course of my tick-borne diseases and mast cell activation syndrome. I was chronically ill for 5 years, I've been in remission for 3 years, and in these past 8 years, I've really dealt with mental health a lot. In the past, I have struggled with things like depression. I was suicidal for many years. I struggled really deeply with depersonalization, and I still have remnants of that happening in my life now. I struggled a lot with anxiety and panic attacks. I had OCD, I had pretty severe germophobia. I also had a lot of PTSD, and I still have a lot of PTSD. I'm sure I could list more. Point being though, I have really dealt a lot with mental health, and I thought I could share some of the things that have personally worked for me in my journey. The first thing that I want to say leading into this conversation is that mental health is absolutely nothing to be ashamed about. You don't have to be afraid to talk about your mental health, to tell others what you're going through, or to ask for help. I highly encourage that you tell others what you're going through, that you ask for help, that you take advantage of the resources that are out there, because it can get better. If there are so many things you can do to get out of the place that you're in or to better your mental health in whatever way you're needing to. There is something or someone out there that can help you get through this, and I so hope that you keep searching until you find the things that work for you. I also want to add, if anyone ever disrespects, downplays, or tries to make you feel invalidated, know that your mental health is a real thing. It is valid. If anyone makes you feel crappy about it, they need to leave your life. All right, things that I have done to help my mental health. Number 1, therapy. I highly recommend it. I saw a therapist almost weekly for about 5 years, the entire time that I was chronically ill, basically, and into the first year of remission. I made so much progress with her help. She helped me learn to articulate my feelings more clearly. She gave me tons of tools of how to cope with the different things or how to deal with complex situations in life. I am a massive fan of therapy. I highly recommend it. I also always preface this by saying that it took me a couple people to find a therapist that I actually liked. This is the 3rd or 4th therapist I had seen in my life, and this was the first one that actually clicked and worked for me. So, like I always tell people, if you see a therapist or counselor or something and it just doesn't really click or feel right, don't be afraid to just tell them, I don't feel like our styles work together and I'm gonna continue searching somewhere else. Because if you feel like you need to be in therapy, then keep searching until you find the right one. Also, no shame on therapy ever. Therapy is awesome. Number 2 is journaling. I journal every day to help my mental health. I've actually journaled since before I got sick, since my tweens. Back then it was just for fun, but once I got sick, I actually really appreciated that I already had this habit in my life of just writing down my feelings. Writing really helps me work through all the jumbled crap in my head. I feel like I think clearer on paper than I do in my own head sometimes, and I definitely feel like I write clearer than I speak. So I highly recommend writing or journaling or writing letters if you ever feel really stuck in your head. Number 3 is music. I used to play on a speaker, play music pretty much every day through my whole illness and into remission as well. It was very rare that I went a day without music. Not only listening to and discovering new music, but actually playing music was a really healthy outlet for me. I feel like music was a place where I could articulate my emotions more clearly and in different ways than in anything else. Often I would find songs that I felt like described how I was feeling better than I could describe it myself, and there's something really therapeutic and healing and validating about that. So I really recommend music as just, if you need something to listen to validate some of the heavy emotions that you're feeling, find a song. Or if you're needing something to boost your vibe and lift your spirits, then find music that makes you want to dance. Music, I think, is really underrated in how much it can help healing. Number 4, books. I read a lot of self-help books, and I highly recommend looking out there for self-help books or like psychology, psychiatry, self-counseling type stuff. There's so many books out there on this kind of stuff. Books in my life have helped me understand not only myself more, but they've helped me understand people more, and they've helped me approach relationships and conversations in healthier ways. So I really recommend books. I will work on making a list of book recommendations because I'm sure someone is going to ask me about that. So I will leave it in the comments below when I actually come up with the book recommendation list. Number 5, DNRS. I will include this in the conversation because personally DNRS was actually helpful for me. Not necessarily in all of the ways that I expected it to be, but it did really help my PTSD. Personally, being in my later stages of healing, I feel like DNRS gave me a couple new angles to rewiring my brain, kind of maybe opening my eyes to the possibilities of rewiring, if that makes sense. You can look into other types of programs too. There's lots of like brain retraining courses out there that could be helpful. Number 6, I watch only happy things. I'm a person who I dream about whatever I watch, so I've always kind of been this way that I only watch happy things. And I really limit how much news I see. I try to focus as much of my attention and energy on things that uplift me in life because I'm a person who is prone to depression and anxiety and worrying too much. So I do better if I just focus on things that make me happy, because even when I only focus on things that make me happy, I'm still a person who's prone to anxiety and worrying too much. So that's just me knowing myself really well. If you notice you're like the same ways, that you're really easy to stress out, then it may be time to, step away from the news and all of the stressful things and just watch a couple Disney movies or something. Find a good comedy show to binge watch. On the topic of watching happy things, I have meant to make a list of like happy movies and good TV shows for a long time. I will also link this below whenever this list gets made. Number 7, avoiding unhealthy vices. This means not eating your feelings, not drinking your feelings, not using things or substances to numb yourself away and avoid the things that are going on inside of you. The list can really go on and on. Anything can become a vice, a crutch, or escapism. There's so many forms of it. So be mindful that you're not trying to just avoid life. And I would encourage being more proactive and asking for help early on, looking for tools earlier on before it becomes like so bottled up that you explode. Because that's what happened in my life, and I don't recommend it. Since I went through that whole thing of bottling everything so long that it eventually just... Let's replay that for everyone. Since I went through that, I learned to be more on top of handling things so that everything doesn't bottle up. I don't know. It can really drag your health down if you leave things to fester for a long time. And I can speak on that through personal experience. There were times in my life when I tried to use all sorts of things to numb my feelings away and avoid how miserable I was in life. And it didn't work. So I avoid using vices as much as I possibly can. Number 8, try and be proactive as you can be about emotions, mental health, all the things in life. Identifying feelings as soon as you can and finding the root causes of where those emotions come from can really help you in moving forward. If you know what caused the emotion and what you can do to help that emotion and the root of your wounds or upset feelings, then you can maybe lighten your load and continue moving forward. Recognizing your patterns, I think, is also a really valuable tool with mental health. If you know your triggers and then know your pattern, then you can kind of keep yourself from spinning all the way out of control. Number 9, patience. Girl, patience is such a huge part of healing. Patience, self-love, and forgiveness are such a major part of healing, and especially with mental health stuff, because it's all in you. Like, it's all in your own, all of it. I've had to work a lot on being more patient with myself, being more forgiving with myself, and being just more overall compassionate and loving to myself, because sometimes there's just bad days or patterns or triggers or things that I can't get a grip on. And in the past, I maybe would have like beat myself up, like, oh, you knew that was a trigger and you still couldn't stop it. But with more patience and forgiveness and compassion, I don't beat myself up as much anymore, which makes the problem less bad than it was in the past. Really, number 10, I really just want to end with and reiterate again, please don't be afraid to talk about your mental health, to share about it with the people in your life that you trust, to seek help. Don't be afraid to ask for help or accept help. There's always people out there who care and want to be there for you, and I think sometimes it's easy to lose sight of that because you can get so deep in your own head that you just forget about how many people would be there for you if you actually told them, I need help. There were a lot of times in the deepest parts of my mental health that I wouldn't ask for help and I would just kind of go through it alone because I didn't want to feel like a burden or didn't want to talk about things because it sucked. Like, I didn't want to talk about it. Like, no. Looking back, like, if I could talk to my teenage self, I would have urged her to open up more to people, because there were a lot of people in my life who did really care, and maybe opening up to people more would have helped me get through it faster. My chronic illness demolished my life, and it broke me in every possible way. I didn't want to be alive anymore, nor did I think I was going to survive my illness, but I am so grateful every single day of my life that I didn't give up and that I'm still here, because there is so much that I have experienced that just reminds me why life is so amazing and why it's so worth living. I've met so many people now that I wouldn't have met had I given up. I'm engaged now. I'm planning a wedding. I have 5 fur babies who are everything to me. There's so much life that I would have missed out on. I'm the happiest I've ever been in life right now. Ever. There's so much life that I would have missed out on had I not gotten the help that I needed. And I'm so thankful that I had a family who was able to help me get therapy and help me find the tools to get through this, and that I had friends who stuck by me even when I tried so hard to push them away and not let them help me. I'm really, really lucky that I had people around me who cared, and I am so sure that there are so many people out there who are in the same position, that there's so many people around them that will help them and want to help them, but you have to let them help you. I don't know if there's anyone watching this who actually needs to hear all of this or not, or maybe there is family members or people who have loved ones who are going through mental health stuff who are watching this. If you have someone in your life who is really struggling with mental health, just be there. Just stay present in their life and let them know how much you love them, because sometimes that's all you can do and you just have to wait for them to be ready. But hopefully when they're ready, you're still there, ready to hold their hand and walk with them through their healing journey. Little side note before I end, I did not talk about antidepressants or mental health medications here. Personally, I did try a couple early on into my journey and they did not work at all for me. But I am not against them, and I think that there are a lot of situations where they're incredible and sometimes life-saving for people. So no shame on mental health medications or antidepressants or any of that, ever. Never. If you need to be on medication for your mental health, that's okay. Because if it means that you live a happier, healthier life and you get to just be here, that's awesome. Anyway, that's today's video. I hope in some kind of way you guys can share some kind of awareness for Suicide Prevention Month. You never know who may be needing to hear this information. There are so many free hotlines out there online all over the world for suicide prevention. There are professionals out there that you can call and talk to for free who can help you get through your personal time or help you in figuring out how to handle a loved one or a friend maybe who is suicidal. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline for the United States is 1-800-273-8255. It's available 24 hours in languages of English and Spanish. If you guys ever have topic requests, comments, or questions for me, you can always leave it in the comments below my videos. Thanks for watching.